I think every car guy can relate. When you pick up a new project, you can see the finish line at the starting line. And then life happens, or 911s happen, or 928s happen, or, well, okay. I have too many project cars, and I have way too many cars up here at the shop. I also have too many cars at home, but there's one person at home that will yell at me for having too many cars, and there are a lot more than that here. So I'm going to take those odds, even though I know it's the wrong decision. This is my 96 Mustang Cobra. It's a Mystic car. I bought it from the auction with no keys, no instrument cluster, didn't know the miles, and I ended up finding the cluster in the car. I had keys cut for it. It did start. It was missing a bunch of parts. Wrong interior. I tracked down the previous owner, and I bought his cousin's car, which had the original interior from this car. There's a whole long story to this thing, and if you haven't seen the first 2 or 3 videos on this car, you should probably watch those. But today we're going to make some progress on it. The last of the wrong parts are coming out of it. We're going to pull the dash out of it and reinstall the original black dash. We're also going to hopefully get the carpet and some of the other interior reinstalled in this car because I need to get some stuff done. Still don't have 911 parts. Otherwise I'd have an update on that. But let's use my time wisely here because I don't have much of it, and let's get started. Now normally this would be a really straightforward swap. However, this car was reassembled by someone that did not care about this at all. I mean, when I reassemble something I don't care about, I don't put all the bolts in, and this person didn't either. And I'm not sure if I have all the hardware, but I do have another Mystic car here as a parts car, so I should have everything. We'll just see how hard it is to get it all. See if I can get these out in one piece. I think they just... Yes. Okay, now I've just got this top. What is this? It's like some sort of owner's manual. I don't know if any of these bolts are in it. I mean, you don't need those. I mean, I need those. Oh, no, there's a bolt in it. Boy, this side's super stuck. So there's 2 out of 3. I mean, that's almost a passing grade. Got that out without breaking it. See, I like how Ford angled them up along the same plane as the windshield, unlike a lot of other car makers that point them straight up, and then you can't really get to them unless you have some crazy sockets. Oh, cool. The Srs Module is just destroyed. They literally just ripped the connectors out of it. Watch this. It's going to fall right out. What the heck? Okay, whatever. Oh, I still got something. There's still some HVAC cable. It's been so long. I don't see how that is held in. This is usually the part where having a friend that likes to do what you do really helps. Something is caught on something else and it's unhappy. Everything is caught on everything. Here's what the last person that worked on it did to the connectors on the Srs Module. It's awful. I guess I'm going to have to find one of those. Well, here's the original dash from the car, which came out of that Mustang GT. I'm just looking at all the connectors, making sure we're ready here. The last thing I want to do is go in and out and in and out with the dash is what I'm talking about. I don't want to play that game. This dash is way too heavy for that. Before we go set this dash in here, I'm actually going to remove the shifter. I have an aftermarket shifter. I think it's like a Pro 5.0. I could be wrong. And that's going to end up going in this car. And since I'm going to do that anyway, I'm going to remove this. It makes it a lot easier to get the dash installed. Oh, cool. We're missing a bolt on the transmission. We don't need those.
Actually, I think we can remove the lever for right now. I'll do this once the dash is in. I don't want any dirt or dust falling inside the transmission.
Okay. We are still like a couple miles away. Okay, well, it's close-ish. Now we just have to connect just a few things. Okay, antenna's in. All of the connections on the right side are done. I think all the ones on the left I can get once the dash is in place. So the next thing is to get the dash in place and get the steering column connected. It'll be fine. Alright, so this is likely going to be the least fun part of this entire endeavor. And part of that's because so many things want to stab me in the butt. That looks dangerous too. Nope. We're not going to play that game. Not on camp. Oh, we are close. Alright. Just got to get this lined up here. Once this is kind of lined up-ish, I can just get it on the couple studs that it's got. And then it's putting it a whole bunch of bolts in it.
Oh boy.
Let's get some of the bolts that go along the top started so that the dash is held in place. We're going to get everything loosely assembled, and then I'm going to have to go on a bolt hunt because it's already missing several fasteners. Okay. Well, I just went out to my parts car and consensually borrowed a bunch of hardware and bolts and nuts, stuff that this car was missing, and we're going to just start feeding it hardware until we run out, which hopefully we don't. Because I have extra, right? That means I have extra. Now we can bolt everything back down. Now I've got some electrical connectors over on this side, which I'm going to do next. And we can start reassembling this car. I'm excited. let's reinstall the defroster vent. Okay, let's get this shifter out of here so that we can put the aftermarket one in.
I need gloves for this.
Boy, that's really simple. We're going to just try to clean up the mating surface here without knocking anything in to the trans. Alright, got my RTV on there. I just set that on there just like so. Now this comes with longer bolts. This is a Pro 5.0 power tower. That sounds weird.
Factory torque spec.
Will this go over all this? It's gonna. Well, I vacuumed all the junk off the floor, cleaned it up a little bit since I'm already here. I also have my carpet, which I power washed, that came out of the other car, which is originally out of this car. And it's time to put it back in. I love when things go back together. Probably my favorite part is putting clean/new parts back into a car after it's been apart for a long time. Well, I am pretty happy right now. That looks really good. I still have a lot of clips. There's still a lot of work left on this car, but it's starting to come back together. Now I'm going to change the cluster back to the original and put the bezel back on so everything looks right. Well, they were kind enough to just not put any hardware back in this, so I'll have to scrounge some of that up, but that's okay. Is the cluster bolted down? Yes, it is. Now a part I can sell. The Mustang GT cluster that was in the Mustang GT. Now it's starting to feel like a Cobra. Now it's starting to look pretty decent. The next thing I'm going to do is pull out the radio and radio bezel. I really want to take a look at how it is wired. My fingers crossed that nothing's cut and it's just an adapter kit. Because I plan on going with a factory, oh yes. There's the connectors. Now I'm planning on putting the Mach system back into this car. I know it's not the best as far as modern technology, but I don't really care. Now I just need to get that out of there, but looks like we have all of the correct pigtails. There's a lot of pigtails. What's going on here? Let's see. Is the amp unplugged? Nope, that's still plugged in. I think we have everything we need. And I have the radio out of my parts car, so I guess that's what I'll use. I just wanted to do all this before I get the whole interior together and then have to rip something out. And speaking of, I did realize that the wiring for the mock system is not present. So that was removed when the interior was swapped. Thankfully, I have a parts car, so I'm going to go pull that out of that car so we can get it reinstalled. Here's the harness that feeds the rear deck and amplifiers, and it looks like it plugs in down here. There's two connectors right here that weren't on the other dash, but they are in this one, which that is for the mock system. So we're going to get that installed, and hopefully everything works. I have my fingers crossed. Thankfully, this harness just installs right here. Runs along the rocker panel, so it's not really a huge deal that I already installed the carpet. I will have to figure out how to fasten these there, but I think this goes inside of this. I know some of you might be shaking your head at me. Why are you doing all of this for crappy 90s audio? Well, I don't have a good answer for you. It's just how I am. It doesn't have to make sense. Now, this part of it, I am a little unsure as to how this goes, but I'm sure it won't be too hard to figure out. If I could just get this harness from sticking to everything, that would be absolutely amazing. It's not what I wanted to do, but you know, it happened. Alright, I think I got it. Well, here is the mock audio rear deck. So this bolts to the rear deck, and you have to have the fabric removed. Well, thankfully, the whole interior is out of mine. So we're going to bolt that back in. That harness plugs into there's amplifiers built in here on both sides. So that plugs in all of those things. And then I've got factory head unit and CD slave. I guess that's what they're called. That's going to go back in this, although they're not in the best shape, so I'll probably look for some nicer ones. The three-hand game where I really need three hands. I don't really know how this is going to go, but we're going to do it. And it's going to go. This should slide right in. Just like so. It's time to put these back in. It's kind of a balancing act here. I just did a quick wipe down on these. I'll do an interior detail when I'm done getting this thing put back together. This is going to be fun. Stop it. And then after I get these in, I'll get the back seat in. Okay. And then these go in. Be careful with these. These are easy to break. Check out all my clips on their mounts, which I do. Yeah. Nice. very easy. It's almost... Let's see, I've got some clips and stuff. 1, 2, 3 push pins. I'll wager that this probably doesn't have any either. Yes, so I need to tuck that back in there. We'll get that. Now it's time for the back seat bottom. Just make sure we get all the seat belts out of the way. Set all the seat belts out of the way entirely. Get out of there. There we go. All right. Now these have these little locking tabs that hopefully they still lock into. Oh, this one's a little unhappy. It's always something. Oh, I see. I need a screwdriver. Okay, so this is kind of... There we go. Good as new. I guess these normally fade and like don't sit very well in the back here. It's kind of a bummer. Oh well, can't control it all. Well, while we're here, we might as well get the seat belts reinstalled. And this goes here. Man, there's one skeeter around here that's really trying to mess with me. Might as well just put this in. Well, we have a rear interior. It's decent too. Before I get the center console in, I'm going to install the seat belt receptacle. Pretty sure that's how that goes. Like a glove. Unfortunately, it's broken here. That's kind of common for them to break here and here, but I still got one here and the bolts in the back. That should do an alright job at holding this in. It's not perfect. Alright, now it's time to add the radio bezel. I think this goes on and then the radio goes in. Pretty sure. Okay, that is better. Now, let's get this in here. It's the factory shift knob. Ooh, that's nice. Now it's time for the kick panels and the door threshold plates. Hey, it's starting to look like a car again. Now I really need to see what it sounds like. I got the tailpipes in it before I started filming today. It's really all it needed for the exhaust. And I flipped the quad shocks around because everybody told me they were backwards, so now they're forwards. I guess I should probably just take those off anyway. Let's see what this sounds like. I'm really curious. I tried to start it, but apparently when you had the dash out and the immobilizer was different, and I tried to start it with the wrong key, I got it fixed. I programmed the keys back to it, so now everything should be good. Let's give it a start, shall we? Give it a start. Who talks like that? I'm afraid it's just too darn loud. Just a smidge. It's a little too raspy for my likes. It does sound good, and I'm sure it sounds different under load, but I think not having certain emissions equipment on it, I think that just makes it a little too raspy for me. I'll likely end up putting some converters back on it so that it passes emissions inspection. Okay, nobody's watching. That's likely what's going to happen. I think that'll just take the edge off and it will sound good. Aside from that, the list of things to do to this car is getting kind of small. I need to put the door panels on it. I bought some nice door panels for it. And then the front seats. It won't be too bad, actually. I bought brand new seat covers for it. One of my parts cars also had a manual driver seat track, so I don't have to figure out what I'm going to do there, try to build one out of some broken seat tracks and buy some new... Manual seat track. I much prefer manual seats over power seats any day. And hopefully I've got good foam. Then just some maintenance, really. We're going to put plugs and wires in it, change the fluid in the transmission and in the rear end, do brake fluid, power steering, all of those things you do to a car before you drive it, which is what I plan on doing. I want to drive it this summer. The summer is almost up, and I only have 9 weeks, less than 9 weeks left. Maybe less than that before my daughter gets here. That clock is a ticking. I hope you enjoyed this video. I got a lot done, so it feels good. And there will be a teardown just in a few days. As always, I love all the comments, all the feedback, and even the criticism. I love it all. And I'll catch you on the next one.